Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm Kinsey Schofield here with Maureen Callahan, host of The Nerve with Maureen Callahan. And we're going to be doing an episode of your show this week. So if you're not subscribed to Maureen's show already, which you should be, you need to subscribe now because we're going to get into a lot of trouble, the troublemakers of Maureen Callahan's show later this week. What are we up to, Maureen?
Well, we'll be taking the back end of the Meghan Markle Netflix part
It won't be
two.
the first.
I call it season 1B. Yeah, but we're going to be cleaning up that mess that she's dumping in the culture.
Dumping the back end. I'm already loving today's episode. We're already there.
Starting strong.
Exactly. Okay, so I love that the Telegraph's review of season 1, part B, is more tone deafness from the Montecito Marie Antoinette, which is something you've said before too, calling her Marie Antoinette. I mean, uh, you said you felt like you were watching a rerun, basically.
I'm I, I'm going in today. I am doing my job. I'm suiting up. I got my flak jacket on. It's serious business over here, but it's going to be really rough going, Kinsey. Really rough going. I, I, I- so I've read recently, within the past day or so, that Megan's next pivot, because what are we doing if we're not pivoting,
Yeah.
is she's going to be shopping around a talk show.
Yes.
Now, excuse me, miss, but you have already had a talk show. It was called Your First Failed Podcast, followed by Your Second Failed Podcast. And what we know you're not good at is conversing with other people because you have zero interest in other people, only insofar as they can tell you how freaking great you are.
Right. Or, yeah, using the questions that a producer wrote for her. And don't forget, she completely ignored like the hardworking, self-made non-celebrities on Archetypes and sent some rogue producer to interview them. She would only interview the Mariah Careys and the Paris Hiltons of the Archetypes podcast. But she'd use the questions that a producer had created for her to pull interesting information out of these legitimate celebrities to convert the conversation back to her, back to what she likes, what she cares about, a story about her. And it's like, if I am a Mariah Carey fan, I am thoroughly disappointed by this conversation. I don't care about you, Meghan Markle.
The Mariah Carey conversation was great, though, because Mariah called Meghan a diva,
Mm-hmm.
and Meghan got so upset.
Yeah.
Now, Mariah has been called a diva and she embraces it like the diva she is. If anybody has not seen the episode of Cribs with Mariah Carey, in which she climbs her stairmaster in 6-inch heels, I behoove you. It
Yeah.
is a gem. But Megan couldn't handle it because Megan, like all malignant narcissists, just my opinion, has no sense of humor about herself. And she couldn't be like, yeah, I do have my diva moments. Like my husband really calls me out when I do X, Y, or Z. She couldn't do it. She can't hack it. And we're gonna watch many more stilted, uncomfortable exchanges in her fake rented kitchen with her fake friends. Daniel, the makeup artist, is back for more,
He
Kinsey.
survived the bath salts. I think that that's the breaking news. He survived the potentially allegedly third-degree burns from the bath salts that she didn't concoct correctly. Remember, there was that random viewer that
Yes.
nearly sued her over third-degree burns or whatever. That I want to go back to Mariah Carey for a second. She's been doing UK interviews, and I don't care where she is. She's hilarious, but for some reason, she's particularly hilarious when she talks to British people. And because she performed at Sandringham, she performed at an event that was on King Charles's estate, and they asked her about meeting royalty, and she only mentioned Fergie, which I thought was interesting. Of course, she could have been like, "Oh well, I appeared on Meghan Markle's podcast," but she didn't freaking like another J Lo. I don't know her moment. She only mentions Fergie and says how nice Fergie was. But also in your wheelhouse, someone asked her about Katy Perry going to space, and she was floored. She had no clue Katy Perry went to space. And so she was like, really? And then they were like, would you like to go to space? And she's like, in her sunglasses, I think I've done enough.
I think I've done enough. Hasn't she? Hasn't she? There's a couple of things about that. First of all, I think Mariah, as a native New Yorker, a fellow Long Islander, such as myself, we literally do not regard Meghan Markle as royalty. She married in, she was there for 5 minutes, and she's been taking craps on it ever since. We don't think you're royalty, honey. You can put as many tiaras on as many pieces of stationery as you like. It's not going to stick.
Mm.
And I sometimes think that Mariah overplays the sort of like her cluelessness about like the culture. You know, she once said famously of J-Lo, like, I don't know her. This was in like the past 5 years. And I kind of think for Mariah, the biggest insult is the complete like just a complete profession of ignorance as to what someone has or hasn't done. So
Mhm.
I think she probably does know that Katie and Gail and Lauren Sanchez went to space. But you know, I think unlike Christine Baranski, who on stage last week was like, that was a disgusting display of wealth. And for what? For,
Yeah.
you know, I think Mariah's speed is a little bit more like it's a little dolled out, you know, it's a little pilled up. I'm not saying she is, but it's a
Yeah.
little like that.
I know what you're saying. I get it. I still get a kick out of it though. I used to send those videos all the time to like my mom, and obviously my mom does not have the same love for Mariah Carey that I do because she never responded. So I stopped doing that. What if you could delay your next two mortgage payments? That's right. Imagine putting those two payments in your pocket and finally getting a little breathing room. It's possible when you call American Financing today. If you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas, bills piling up, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on credit cards, and there doesn't seem to be a way out. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off that debt. You need to call American Financing today before you get to a point where you can't make those payments. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners just like you restructure their loans and consolidate debt, all without upfront fees. And their customers are saving an average of $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise. It's fast, it's simple, and it could save your budget this summer. Call before it's too late. 866-887-1201. That's 866-887-1201, or visit americanfinancing.net/unfiltered. So, first of all, we are surprised today by a new interview with Meghan Markle for Bloomberg. And the way that they describe the show is sitting down for intimate interviews with the biggest names at the intersection of tech, business, entertainment, and culture. And to that, I'd be like, WTF? How does Meghan Markle fit into any of those categories? But I digress. But I want to ask you from an entertainment perspective, this reminds me a little bit of Harry and Meghan sitting down with Oprah Winfrey before they give Netflix a single second of footage, before they sit down with Spotify and develop anything lucrative for Spotify. I think that this is a mismanaged PR moment because if I'm Netflix, I want all eyeballs on my streaming network. I don't want them on YouTube, Bloomberg, watching Meghan Markle bitch about the British royal family. If I'm Netflix's PR team, I'm sitting back going, you couldn't have waited a week? Or 5 days or 3 days? Why are you disrupting the momentum we have having this footage of you that people haven't seen her in a while?
Honestly, Kinsey, my take is I don't think Netflix cares anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when someone is, you're just done with them. You're just like, "Oh, do what you want. Do what you want. Doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not in business with you anymore." I mean, they allegedly are, you know. But first of all, the lead of that Bloomberg piece that you just quoted, like she's talking with like the biggest names in the intersection of tech and entertainment and blah 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 blah. Not so. If you have to ladle on that many descriptors, if she really were, this is what it would read. Like, Meghan Markle sits down with Elon Musk and Gwyneth Paltrow and Beyonce and movers in the culture. They would just name them. They would just
Yeah.
name them. They
Yeah.
can't. I mean, how many people really know Jose Andres?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's an elite kind of thing. She's scraping. And I just think that, you know, what's so marked to me about this rollout as opposed to the first one is that there was no drumbeat built up by Netflix. There was no sense of anticipation. We're getting a drop on a weekday, days before Labor Day weekend, when everybody's just checked out. Everybody's checked out. The biggest thing going on right now is the US Open. You
Right.
know, I would much rather be watching the US Open right now than having to watch for work Meghan Markle show. I otherwise wouldn't be watching it.
That's the truth. Amen to that. So I want to read some of these quotes to you from the Bloomberg interview that, well, quite frankly, made me hostile. It was difficult several years ago when I couldn't be as vocal and I had to wear nude pantyhose tights all the time. Let's be honest, that was not very myself. I hadn't seen pantyhose since movies in the 80s when they came in the little egg. That felt a little inauthentic, and that's a silly example. First of all, if you work in Hollywood, girlfriend, you've seen pantyhose because it's a way for you to make your legs look nice on screen on HD. Like why are you playing dumb about wearing pantyhose? And I know I'm so hostile about this, but I love pantyhose. I still wear pantyhose religiously. I love pantyhose as a woman from the South. But like, why are you complaining to Bloomberg about having to wear pantyhose when you were a working royal?
Because we're coding this as pantyhose as a tool of the patriarchy. Catherine, Princess of Wales, famously wears pantyhose. And so we have to paint her as just a hapless tool. She doesn't know what's up. The big feminist over here, Meghan, absconded to the United States. Also, she's so full of like her last memory of pantyhose is in like the egg, like the legs egg. Like if you're old enough to remember that, your mom had that. Your mom had that. You're telling me this trick doesn't know from a Wolford tight? Doesn't know from a $90
And
Wolford
she
fishnet?
interviewed the lady from Spanx.
Get
Spanx
out.
put out as pantyhose.
Case prosecuted, Kinsey. We got her.
I also thought, like, when I read that, this is the toughest thing you had to deal. I thought they were racists. Like she contradicts herself so much. It's like if the toughest thing you had to deal with and you're sitting here still complaining about pantyhose, it really kind of negates the whole I was fleeing from a group of racists, argument that she made when she sat down with Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, lest we forget, she was driven to the point of suicide by the royals while she was pregnant, and she really wanted to seek some mental help, and they told her no.
Oh my gosh, which has never been dealt with. Like, yeah, Valentine Lowe and I talked about that not too long ago. He was like, that's one question I still would love to talk to the palace about. Like, what did they, in their investigation, what did they find out? Did that ever actually happen? Okay, here's another quote. But it is an example of when you're able to dress the way you want to dress and you're able to say the things you want to say that are true and be able to show up in a space that is really organically and authentically. That's being comfortable in your own skin. I mean, always talking about organic and authentic, like two things that she is, the antithesis of. When you hear her talking about not having a voice, does it ever occur to you that like she's had one for 5 years now and hasn't said anything of value?
I feel like it's closer to 10.
Well,
I
yeah.
feel like we want to lop off 5 years just because it makes it more tolerable in some way. But this is Megan is
Well,
like
she
one.
says she was not allowed to speak as a member of the British royal family, and they stepped back in 2020. Like,
She
so she's.
was. She
I know.
was. She
I
said
know.
she gave all manner of interviews. She's standing in front of starving African kids going, "Nobody's asking me if I'm okay." She ran her mouth all over town. I
Yeah.
don't know what she's talking about. She's like one page of Mad Libs. Okay. You don't get the book, you get one page. And the things that you fill in, you have 5 words to choose from: organic, authentic, space, yet, and pick a fifth one. I don't know. But if she had something to say, we would have heard it by now. She keeps always, she's like, I'm running up. I'm running up to saying something really important. I'm going to
Yeah.
say it on this thing over here. I'm giving you the interview, but I'm going to say it on this thing over here. So go click on that so I can make some money. But she doesn't say anything.
No, no, she doesn't. She says, of course, I have had different chapters in my life, except the one she fixates on is the royal family. She's not been a member of the working, or she's not been a member of the royal family, and certainly a working member of the royal family for longer than she was. I mean, I still think it was just like 17 months that she worked. So I'm like so sick of hearing her talking about being a member of the work. Blink and you'll miss it. But she says, but right now I don't feel like I need to prove anything. I see with videos of Prince Harry surfing and all this other BS she puts out there, she's trying to prove something. Like, oh, what? Your actions say otherwise.
First of all, if she wasn't trying to prove anything, she'd just be living her life. She wouldn't be shoving her face in front of whatever camera she could find. Secondly, to your point about the social media posts, 100%. And I am a firm believer the more somebody is trying to advertise their utter bliss on social media, things are dire, things are dark, things are desperate. Not for nothing have we been hearing reports that Harry is miserable, is lonelier than ever, that she's so busy over here trying to build her faux empire that he's got nobody to talk to because he has no real friends. And
No.
he's cut off from everybody in England and he's literally got nowhere to go. And this is going to end very, very badly.
It is, yeah. So I made a couple of notes. Sorry if I'm bouncing back a little bit, but in the interview, she talks about how she chooses smaller brands to elevate them. And she says this all the time. Have you noticed how she's always saying, like, I like to choose these smaller brands to give them a chance, to give them exposure? And it's like, you're not a martyr for wearing an unknown independent brand. I don't ask for a round of applause every time I make an Etsy purchase. Why does she keep bringing this up? Like we need to bow down to her because and also, again, with the contradictions, what's that coat? That Max
The
Mara
Max Mara coat.
the coat she's always that $7,000 coat she's always wearing in the middle of summertime. Like, why does she keep bringing up that she wears smaller brands? Does she want people to just send her freebies like the Palace Papers said? Is that why she keeps bringing this up?
It's so interesting. We had this professor who I love. His name is Sam Vaknin. He's this Israeli academic, and he can talk psychology all day long. And we did a nice deep dive on narcissism and like all the different kinds of narcissism. And I think Megan's got like all the kinds of the narcissism. And that's what she's doing. She's saying, she's not really giving attention to these smaller brands. If she were, first of all, she'd name them. She'd say,
Yeah.
these are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
She's like, look at me, how great I am. I'm leveling up smaller brands. The problem is, Megan, remember the rumor that I believe was started from the real kitchen in Montecito, the dated kitchen, that looks like it was done in the 80s, that
Like her
she was
pantyhose.
exactly her legs, that she was Cartier wanted her as the
Oh my
face of
gosh. Yeah.
Cartier. Remember that rumor?
Yeah.
And Cartier was like, "No way. We've never even considered it." She would die. She would die to be the face of Cartier, of Tiffany, of
Dior.
Prada. She would die. Dior, especially with the Diana. You know, nobody wants her. She's a
Yeah.
loss leader.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's so true. And also, anytime she does promote a brand, she's an investor in the brand. So it feels icky. It doesn't feel like an organic, I just love this company. It's, oh, by the way, I'm an investor. So if you buy from this company, I get a kickback. And we found out like the handbags these women were making in some foreign country, like 25 cents or less an hour, while these handbags were selling for $300 and $400. So I don't trust these freaking brands that she does spotlight. So she says she didn't have a voice in this interview several times. I have friends that worked at Us Weekly when Meghan was being introduced into the fold.
Mhm.
And they said, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're starting to get legit royal gossip once Meghan Markle enters the picture.
Whoa.
Lainey Gossip out of Canada,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, where Meghan and her bestie Jessie Mulroney were running the show, where Jessica, her husband Ben, was like an entertainment reporter. All of a sudden, Canada started getting legit juicy gossip from inside the palace. Like for her to say, I didn't have a voice. I mean, I would love maybe I have to put together like the ultimate list of lies one day, because there's so much proof that Meghan was leaking like a faucet the second she entered the picture because she was so obsessed with controlling her image there. I mean, we see it in the form of Prince Harry releasing that statement that surprised everybody, accusing the British media of racism. And that's not, never complain, never explain. That wasn't something the palace was used to doing, but that was Meghan putting her foot down, saying, if you don't do this, I'll leave you, allegedly, according to Valentine Lowe.
Kinsey, okay, to that great bit of intel you just dropped, that your friends at Us Weekly up in Canada were getting all kinds of like just a, a a floodgate of suddenly royal gossip. This has long been the speculation, and I'm wondering if you know if this is true or not, that it was Meghan who leaked all those rumors that William was having an affair with Rose Hanbury.
So what I heard was that there was a foodie, like a food critic at a Soho House event, and people saw Meghan sitting down with this guy. And that person then goes and tweets this and blows up the internet. And that guy later had to come out and say, I was drunk. I didn't mean it. I was just trying to cause trouble. But the rumors are that this guy was seen at Soho House. Meghan would be familiar with a foodie blogger
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
she considers herself a foodie. Look at her
Mm-hmm.
program,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. And so that's, yes, I've heard all of that, um, that Meghan is the one that instigated this. And I think I've said that like on Sky News and stuff. I don't think that it's something that I've been fearful of saying. I see the value in it. She didn't like the heat that she was getting, and it was a way for her to distract and to change the conversation, allegedly.
It's also a way, if it's true, for her to really, I'll use Megan terms, manifest or self-actualize, hold her space as a true chaos agent, as a merchant of chaos. And it allows her a temporary release of her rage and resentment against William and Catherine for being the alpha royals, for her being stuck with the loser dumb beta royal. And she will never be queen of England.
Yeah.
There's that, okay, there's this other thing that is allegedly is ascribed to her. And she's so awful. Like, I feel like we absolutely should be discussing it.
Are you going to say the helicopter thing?
Yes, well, it's the plane thing. The alleged statement that I, God, I wish Alfred Hitchcock was still alive. Like, there is no darker anti-heroine to fictionalize than one Meghan Markle. I am one plane crash away from the throne.
I think it was helicopter. I've heard this. The version I heard was helicopter because Prince William is a helicopter pilot, and he used to pile all the kids, all the entire family into the helicopter. But now we understand it's against the rules because they want to make sure that him and Prince George don't travel together in case worst case scenario.
Hmm.
So yes, I've heard that. I've heard that as well. And you immediately think about Valentine Lowe's report that she stood over a Kensington Palace employee's desk and said, I'm going to be your boss one day. Like, it has similar energy. It has some, like, I'm probably going to be your boss one day. It has similar energy to that. It has similar energy to Tom Bower's report that tea was thrown,
Yes,
on a,
on scalding tea was
yeah,
thrown on like a personal assistant or, a lesser aide in
right.
Australia during that tour.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, reportedly.
So yeah, one more point I want to make. I'm sorry I'm bouncing all over the place,
No,
but
it's great.
crazy with Meghan Markle news. So I just wrote random notes everywhere about the pantyhose. Do you remember that one of the theories in the argument about the bridesmaids' dresses was Catherine was saying the little girls need to wear pantyhose because it will tear up these shoes might eat at the backs of their feet. So, there are reports that now Harry tells us in Spare it's about sizing, and that he alludes to the fact that Catherine was lazy. It's because she didn't want to take Princess Charlotte to Kensington Palace to get refitted. But there were initial reports that the argument was over pantyhose because Catherine was saying, not only is it royal protocol that we wear pantyhose, and we probably should when the entire world is watching us, but it will be, far less, it won't eat the backs of the baby's feet.
Right. It's all about control with Meghan, if that's true. And it makes me think back to the text exchange between Meghan and Catherine that Harry so inappropriately published in Spare. It's a reproduction of the text exchange. And what really stood out to me was Catherine was saying the bridesmaid's dress does not fit Charlotte. She is in tears and it needs to be refit. And really, I think what you need to do is have all of these little dresses retailored. They're not working. And Meghan is going, well, I've got a tailor here right now. And so come over or don't. I don't really care. And Catherine's like, listen, I'm juggling X, Y, and Z. But really I'm telling you, like, redo these dresses. And Meghan goes, I just don't understand why you can't come over here like all the other mums are doing.
Yeah.
And it's that phrase, all the other mums. She was so attempting, in not even a passive aggressive way, an aggressive way, to level Catherine down. You're not that important. I consider you one of the other mums. No, honey, you're dealing with the future effing Queen of England, okay? Show a little respect. You got here 5 seconds ago.
Yeah. And I can't believe I'm spacing on this right now, but Prince Louis is either a baby. I mean, Catherine's body is exhausted right now because she's either pregnant or there's a baby on board.
Right.
What I mean? So that was always frustrating to me too at the time because I kept thinking like she's got so much going on beyond your second wedding, your
Second
second
wedding.
wedding. you know so you mentioned this earlier. Let's talk about this report that Meghan believes that a talk show is the best way to reinvent herself, the ultimate power move. A source says she's convinced this could be a good opportunity for her. They'll have a lot of spots to fill, and that's when she'll make her pitch if she hasn't already, looking at a lot of the people that have lost their jobs or are I mean, like, what does she think is late night where she thinks she's going to go? Because that's an even bigger laugh. Landing a TV talk show will be the ultimate power move and do a great job of boosting her popularity. It'll take her schmoozing capability to the next level, earn her a ton of cash, and give her a lot of power in Hollywood. First of all, Johnny Carson was great because we never knew what side he was on.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Mm-hmm.
what side Meghan Markle's on. She's made that perfectly clear. But also, do you not look at season 2 of With Love, Meghan and think, have William Morris and Deborah just jumped ship? Because there's no way that they couldn't have called in some favors.
Oh, I think 100%. I think everybody realizes she's kryptonite, she's radioactive, she's toxic nuclear sludge. Second, thirdly, she's like, oh, TV's where I need to be. Honey, you've already tried it with Netflix. That's streaming. That's television. She wants in on traditional television. That's dying. Okay.
Mhm.
How savvy are we? How much
Yeah.
of a creature of Hollywood are we? You want a talk show, Meghan? Here's what you do. You set up a camera, some lights, a mic, like the rest of us, start a YouTube channel and go to town. Nobody's stopping you, but nobody wants it. She's always like, it's the next thing that's going to make people like me. It's the next thing. Honey, it's an inside job. Nobody likes you. We've already rendered our verdict on this. There are so many people in the culture right now who just refuse to take the note. Like
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker is one of them. She thinks that this thing has legs.
Yeah.
This crap show. Howard Stern, Sirius XM is trying to show him the door as forcefully as possible. He's like clinging on to the edge of the door, not like with the skin of his teeth. It's the same with Meghan Markle. Netflix is done with you. Spotify's done with you. Lemonade is done with you. Major magazines aren't sitting down with you anymore. You're giving up. Next, it's the local penny saver. Come on the nerve. Go on Kinsey's show. Let's have at it. I would kill to interview Meghan Markle. I got questions for days.
I would rather watch you talk to her than have to talk to her.
I'll take it.
Okay, so you mentioned Netflix being done with her. One thing that I do think, because I reported this to Fox News in 2023, that I knew that people were approaching Prince Harry about a Princess Diana documentary, and I will scream it from the rooftops that I said this first. One thing that I do think that they whispered in Netflix's ear to hold on to any sort of, I mean, you watch season 2 and you go, what blackmail does Harry and Meghan have on these people that this continues to exist? But I also wonder if it was just them teasing Netflix with the possibility of a Princess Diana documentary. Netflix loves Diana. They have plenty of Diana documentaries. They have the Diana the musical on Broadway. I shamelessly loved it. The Crown, which made Diana look like she just glued to a toilet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a total psychopath. And yeah, I think that Netflix would be down for a Princess Diana documentary. But sources are telling the Daily Beast, that sources that know both brothers, that Prince William would likely feel compelled to react in some way if Harry does develop a documentary on his mom, whether it be a sit-down interview or his own style documentary. And that William said when they together made a 20th anniversary after her death documentary, hey, this is over and done with now. We've done it. Like, let's be done here. What's your reaction to this? Kind of ew, huh?
Yeah, it feels really gross. It feels really grubby and slimy, desperate. I feel for William because I think the real concern is what will Harry and Meghan say? Like, what
Hmm.
secrets about Diana will they spill? I
They
mean,
don't
so
have any. They don't have any. That my biggest argument is Harry doesn't know this woman. Remember when he sat down with Oprah for the Apple Plus documentary and said that they dealt with racism the same way Diana dealt with racism with Dodie, that like him and Meghan could totally relate to Diana, poor Diana, and the pushback she got from Dodie, a cokehead who was engaged to another woman while his father was allegedly raping staff at Harrods. Maybe that's why people didn't want your mom with Dodie. Maybe it had absolutely nothing to do with race, you idiot.
oh, 100%, 100%. I would worry though, whatever other information Harry and Meghan have made it their business to accrue during their time in exile, because they only really traffic in selling out the royals, in selling out their secrets, and trying to degrade the monarchy to the point where it reaches utter irrelevancy. And William will have to strike back. Now, William holds the real cards. William holds the titles and the money. And, I think Harry's playing a very, very dangerous game because, again, we here in America would cheer if William stripped them of their titles. And as for the children, we're not that invested.
No.
They're growing up in America. Americans place no value on titles, royalty or otherwise. We don't care. So nobody's going to be like how William's so cruel to the children. It's not going to happen. I just think Harry is so dim and he's being led around by his viper of a wife who is trying to, with each attempt to elevate herself, it's like she's like one of those free solo mountain climbers. She just keeps slipping down yet another foot and then another foot. She's about to plummet to the bottom.
Oh my gosh, what a visual. Do you think that their source material would be the ghost of Diana that allegedly Beatrice told somebody that she overheard Meghan say to Prince Harry when they were at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee? Diana spoke to her during yoga that morning and she was so happy that they were there. Do you think their source material would be the ghost of Diana that Meghan talks to during yoga, or the ghost of Diana that enters the room when Prince Harry is applying cream to his genitalia?
Mummy's favorite face cream. Genitalia, I'm going to picture that next to the box of Diana's hair that sits on their nightstand that they used as a talisman when trying to conceive. Talk about mommy issues all day long. Okay, this is what I picture.
Oh,
We talked what?
I
Okay,
just,
sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out. So we talked a bit about this on the Nerve vis-a-vis Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and her self-proclaimed BFF Carol Radziwill, who loves to market herself around town as an intellectual and still a Kennedy. Not so. And so she did a sit down with Hollywood medium Tyler Henry.
oh God.
And this kid is so, I call him a kid. He's like 29 or 33, but he really presents as like a kid.
Like he looks like Dennis the Menace.
He does. He has like no facial hair. He looks like, the secondary sex characteristics haven't kicked in. And he's very dead-eyed and creepy. And it's like she'll be like, yeah, my husband died of cancer like 3 weeks after my best friend's died in a plane crash. He's like, tough break.
Oh
Tough
my God.
break. So he's so creepy, right? And I picture Meghan inviting someone like Tyler Henry in to do a seance to channel dead Diana and proclaim that Diana says Meghan, not Catherine, should be Queen of England. It's going to be A plus plus class all the way.
Oh my, that's her chat show. That's the chat show that, that anybody would watch. Nobody's going to watch anything else she does because we've seen her ability and she is not a very good host. But gosh, what a horrifying visual. I completely agree with you. And I forgot about the hair next to the bed. I wish I would still have forgotten about it. So I'm going to be mad at you all day over this.
Don't be mad at me. Be mad at Harry's ghostwriter. And this is how we know Harry's ghostwriter hated him. And he did write a piece for the New Yorker basically intimating as much.
Yeah.
He's the guy who wrote The Tender Bar, and he ghost wrote famously Andre Agassi's memoir Open, which was rightly lauded as one of the best memoirs by an athlete ever. So this is how you know this guy hated Harry. He let that stay in.
Yeah.
if I'm a ghostwriter and I really like my client, I'm going to say, listen, I have to have a come to Jesus with you.
Right.
Really want to get this out of here. The stuff that this guy left in, I think, Harry, as usual, making friends everywhere he goes.
But when you read that book, you think to yourself too that Meghan, who we know is overbearing, must have set back and maybe not engaged at all. Because if I were Meghan, I would be like, can we not include the Elizabeth Arden cream?
It is strange, isn't it? It is strange. I kind of get the hair thing just because I think for Meghan, any proximity to Diana is confers a kind
That
of
she's the
royal.
second coming. Yes.
Exactly. Again, skin it like Buffalo Bill, skin the corpse like Buffalo Bill and wear it. But the Arden cream is a real head scratcher. Arden cream on his frozen Todger as best man. Oh, you know why? Because it was while he was serving as best man at his brother's wedding, and it's a way to sort of like diminish William right there.
Cheapen William and Catherine's special day. No,
Yeah.
that's true. That's a very good point. I still associate the word Todger though with that amazing South Park episode when he's like, give us privacy. And his like Todger's up against the window. We want privacy. It's blue.
Oh my God, those guys at South Park. Like, please, if Megan gets season one, part B, please can South Park give us part two of the Harry and Meghan privacy journey that they're still on?
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask you this really quickly. You mentioned season two, part B, C, D, whatever. I can't believe she's got two new products, I guess, that are available in partnership with this new season. I think what a blown, expensive experiment that she keeps releasing these seasons and they don't have the product to go along with it. I think she should be fully stocked if she's going to release a new season, because then that makes this whole Netflix's QVC Meghan Markle TV experiment, it makes it make sense. Okay, like welcome to the home shopping network. Everything, all the fruits are the freaking flower sprinkles I'm about to use. You can have right now on my website, but that stuff is still not available. She just keeps randomly dropping one or two items at a time. And I go, this doesn't make sense for Netflix. I mean, does it blow your mind at all that this has been so poorly executed? And then, second, I would ask, have you ever seen so many people conspire to try to make someone happen?
It's such a great point. I do wonder at what point, though, again, Netflix was kind of like, I don't want to work with her, because it doesn't reflect well on Netflix to have such a slipshod, scattershot rollout of merchandise that is supposed to be timed to the drops of these shows. I mean, truly, there should be like a QR code in the bottom of any given episode. Get the flour sprinkles, get the jam, get the whatever. What did you call the jam?
Uh, Loose. No, I called it slimy jam.
Slimy jam. Get the slimy jam, and I just think it's sort of like you let somebody just give them enough rope to hang themselves. This way Netflix can walk away free and clear. She cannot level the racism card over there. She can't. Ted Sarandos, not for nothing, is married to a black woman. She can't piss him off. And yeah, and I also think, as we were saying earlier, it's the people who always say they're so authentic who are total phonies and frauds. And she's always running around saying what a perfectionist she is and how she's up all night, like looking at SKUs. Like anyone who's worked retail, Megan, knows what a SKU is. It's not that impressive. Or like the labels and making them perfect. And I'll tell you, when we ordered them at the Daily Mail, and I'm going to call them on this show over at the Daily Mail tomorrow, we got the labels were like peeling off the 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 labels were peeling off the jars, and then there were grammatical errors on the boxes.
Well, you saw the Instagram post where there's a worm crawling on the cookies,
I
and
did
you're like,
not.
oh my God, this, I thought of you when I saw it, because you've said a million times, like she's trying to convince us that she elevates everything. And what makes Meghan special and what makes Meghan worth watching is the details, the details. And she doesn't see the worm crawling on her food of her Instagram post. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the least appetizing thing I've ever seen in my life. If I want a worm, I'll go to Cracker Barrel because that's actually happened to me. Um,
Whoa. Wow. But again, this goes to like who's overseeing her social media?
Well, she
Like,
shows behind the scenes stuff where she wants us to think it's her. Like she's got a camera over her and she's like placing things and
okay, so there are two answers and neither one is good. She
yep.
actually is, and she misses something as significant as that. And she's vain enough that she won't put on glasses. She clearly is at the age where she needs readers and she won't do it. Secondly, she does have somebody who oversees one or two people at least who help with the social media, and they effing hate her. They hate her and they're shivving her any chance they can get. And like it's that worm could be AI for all I know.
Right.
But I would like to add that worm to my list of candidates on the first annual Nerve Awards. That
Oh,
worm goes on the list.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, agree with us, disagree with us. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And if you suffered through Meghan Markle's With Love, Meghan season 2, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Check me out on The Nerve this week on YouTube. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're actually, I think we're a little sassier over there. There's a little bit more freedom. I'll say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the most fun place. It's the most fun you can have, right?
Yeah.
Without getting, but yeah, it totally is. And it's not a place that's really hospitable to the likes of a Meghan Markle. But oh, I don't know if you saw this. It's tangential but relevant. Jamie Kern Lima announced she's having a third child
Oh,
on her on Instagram, and she didn't announce it. Her announcement was like this way up, so it's unclear whether she's outsourced this pregnancy. Again, I'm all for surrogacy, but there's a certain kind of woman who's like,
yeah.
and so now we're gonna have to hear about Meghan Markle probably being named the godmother, and we're gonna be doing special events, and there will be a baby shower, and we're gonna prove that Meghan does have somewhat of a community out there, and yeah, the band plays on.
Well, it would make up for her not being at Serena Williams' baby shower because I took note of that.
Great point. And you know where else she's not? So Serena's out in New York because it's US Open time, and Serena inducted Maria Sharapova into like the Tennis Hall of Fame. Normally Megan would be affixed to Serena like Velcro.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why wouldn't I mean this would be such a perfect opportunity for her to be subtly promoting With Love, Meghan.
Yeah, she would just be in the VIP box and just casually let like the camera alight on Megan in a VIP box with Serena, and oh, they're whispering to each other, and what are they saying and what are they wearing, and oh, do you know Megan's got this new show on Netflix and everybody's talking about it. She's not there.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes. But I also thought of you too when I saw the pushback on Serena for promoting a GLP-1
Mm-hmm.
because you said a couple of times that you wonder if Megan's on it, and I've always just not gone there. But now that I've seen that somebody of Serena's position and Serena's husband's on the board of this company, I'm like, maybe she would.
Oh, I think so. I mean, Serena, it's interesting, she's such a divisive figure because she really, the last few years of her career, especially, she was such a brat on the tennis court. She really was. She was so unlikable. And when she retired, they gave her like 10 nights of like going away. And then she was like, maybe I won't retire. It's like, please go, please. Um, but, and you would think nobody ever had a baby before, nobody ever. The whole thing. And now, so she like shows up and she's like a quarter of her former size, and she's shilling. She's like a paid spokesperson for this. And I just think it's very, I don't know. I really worry about this stuff because I think unless you're really obese and you need it to just get yourself to a healthy space, like we really don't know what the long-term ramifications of these drugs are. And I just think they should always come with an asterisk like that instead of these celebrities sitting down and getting thrown softball after softball and never once being asked, like, have you ever spoken to a doctor about the potential long-term ramifications? I've said this before. I have a friend whose partner is like a top doctor in New York City at NYU Langone, and he will not let anybody in his life go anywhere near this stuff.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah, it's a commercial. It's a glorified commercial. And it's the way that it's dressed up is like it's just Serena sitting there on the Today Show talking to old friends. There's something a little dubious about it.
It is, and that the networks they're never going to push back because like who are their biggest advertisers?
The
The
pharmaceutical company.
GLP-1s,
Yeah.
Ozempic. We got musicals playing every 15 minutes about how great these drugs are, you know?
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I also wondered if Serena kind of pushed Megan out after the Dr. Sophie Shandaka blow up, because Dr. Sophie mentioned Serena a lot, and Serena was probably like, I do not want to get involved in this bad juju.
That's such a great point. And you know, her husband is so wealthy and so powerful, founder of Reddit, co-founder of Reddit, whatever. You know, these are people like their reputation is everything. And if you, it's like the way Taylor Swift just cut Blake Lively out. That was like a malignant tumor they caught a little too late, but they got it out. That's exactly how they act. And so, you know, I think Megan's persona non grata. I don't even think we've seen so much as a tweet, a like, an Instagram post from Serena Williams about Megan's new Netflix drop.
And she did do it the first season, remember?
Hmm.
She posted about it on her stories. Oh, very good point. I think we just cracked the case. All right. Great. Thanks so much for watching us. I already did the spiel. I hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Thanks, Kinsey.